Well, after spending his first 11 years in the league with the Ravens, the future Hall of Famer Ed Reed is now patrolling the Texans secondary. But you know what? He is hanging out with us right now. And it's still getting used to calling him Texans.
Doesn't sound right.
Safety.
He looks good in that uniform.
You look really good in that uniform. What kind of adjustments have you had to make, though, Ed?
It's been different as far as the scheme. You know, the scheme is concerned, but for the most part, I'm kind of doing the same things. My teammates, you know, they just pretty much have been open arms, you know, adjusting to the coaching a little bit. But for the most part, man, it's been great. You know, I mean, the weather is something else. You know, you just never know what you're going to get, whether it's going to rain or just be hot, you know, or overcast. But it's been awesome.
Hey, Ed, I spent 16 years in one spot and eventually became a leader on that team. You had all those years in Baltimore. What's it like trying to establish a leadership role in a new franchise?
You know, it's not as hard as I thought. You know, I get asked a lot of questions, you know, and guys tend to look to me, you know, for certain things, you know, and I'm not a guy to hold my opinion or not voice my opinion. So, you know, I pretty much just kind of go with the flow. You know, I approach it, you know, like a player, of course, but, you know, I have a coach's mentality. So it's hard for me not to tell a guy what he's doing wrong or critique him, sort of say, you know, or even give him encouragement. You know, I mean, it's in me, so I'm not going to change who I am. You know, though I'm not trying to force anything on anybody.
What about critiquing them on their locker room etiquette? Because Brendan Iambadejo tells us you kind of got a little OCD when it comes to the locker room, making your teammates clean up after themselves, and towels and things like that.
Yeah, you know what, man? I came to this locker room, you know, and those things pretty much don't happen as much, man. These guys are real detailed about what they do. You know, things tend to move pretty fast, so you ain't got time to just, you know, trash the place.
So the Ravens were slobs, and the Texans aren't. That's not what you're saying.
I mean, in the locker room, you have a certain couple of guys, you know, and I call them lowlifes, as your grandmother would do, you know, back in the day. You know, it's just simple stuff. It's, you know, Ray taught me it's the little things, you know, that wins championships. You know, and those are the things I didn't want those guys to miss, man. I mean, because you have someone here that'll clean up behind you doesn't mean that you throw your trash on the ground. You know, you're a grown man. If you want to be treated like a kid, you act that way, then you will be.
Talk about the expectations for this team. 2-2 right now. Is there a sense of disappointment? Are you where you want to be? Where are we going forward with this Houston Texans team?
You know, I think we're right where we're supposed to be. You know, we went through those situations, those two losses for a reason, and even those two tough games. You know, they've been in tough situations in the past, those past years. I know from playing against them, watching them last year, you know, having that success early and then kind of hitting the mark where you couldn't really get it back on track. So this is a different time for them, you know, but we're a different team, you know, and I think going through that adversity early, going through this defeat early, you know, it's going to help. You know, it's a long season, you know that, Rondé, and it's a process, you know, and it's a growing process. And if you can't grow through the good and the bad, then you won't be successful.
Well, the bad right now, and you know this because the fans and Texans are killing your quarterback right now, and Matt Schaub. Now, you kind of went through this with Joe Flacco in years past with the Baltimore Ravens, where the Ravens fans kind of got on Joe Flacco until he won the Super Bowl. What kind of comparisons do you see in the two quarterbacks, and what kind of advice do you give Matt Schaub at this time?
You know, I just, you know, encourage Matt, you know, to let him know that we all are human, for one, and we all make mistakes. You know, it's the game of football. You know, and nobody's perfect, you know, and you got to take those situations and learn from them. You know, thank God it's not in the playoffs to where it really costs you. You know, so good thing has happened in the first quarter of the season. You know, what Matt's problem would be if we went forward and he made those same mistakes. You know, so I just encouraged him, man, and, you know, let him know we got his back. You know, let him know it takes a team to win a football game, a team to win a championship. You know, not one player, you know, is gonna mess up those plays, but at the same time, we all got to be accountable. You know, it's not just about players, it's coaches too.
Every squad should have a leader like Ed Reed.
And obviously, he's bringing a winning attitude to a team that's expected to win. Good luck against the Niners, Ed. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks a lot, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, stay healthy.